Hi guys, today I am going to go over lesson 3 and lesson 4 from module 5, and I'll be doing the problem set, just a few of these problems to help you out with the problem set and the homework. I'm going to start with lesson 3 problem set in module 5. And number 1 is just asking you to show different ways that you can break down these rectangular prisms and show the layers. And so what I'm going to do in letter A, it's already drawn for me. So for this first drawing, I am just going to show you a couple different colors. I can see that there are 2 layers, and it might help if you think of these as cake. So you see there's kind of like 2 layers of my cake, and I want to identify how many unit cubes I have in each layer. So if I can sit here and go count them, so this is 1 cube, 2, and go through, and I know that on top there's 12, and on the bottom there's also 12. And again, I got this from counting by 2s, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, so 12. And I want to fill out this table that I have in the corner. So there's 2 layers, and in each layer I have 12 cubes. And I can write this as a sentence. 12 centimeters cubed. Remember, it's cubed because each side of the cube measures 1 centimeter. So I have 2 of those layers, 12 centimeters cubed plus 12 centimeters cubed. And again, another way to write repeated addition is with multiplication. So I can rewrite this as 12 times 2. So 12 cubes in the 2 layers, or I can flip those over 2 times 12, and that would be 24 cubic centimeters. Now what I want to do in my other 2 examples is show another way to break down the layers for each of these prisms. So I can think of this as going this way. It's 1 layer. And I can go through and just do 1, 2, I can count them and actually see them right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this last one 6. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And now I just want to identify how many cubes I have in each one of those layers. And I can see just from this front side over here, this is 1 cubed, a 2nd cube, 3rd one, and this 4th one. So each layer has 4 cubes. And again, I want to write my expression. So I would write 4. I'm going to use the text box because it's going to be a lot. It's going to take me a while to write those out. A little pencil. And I'm writing that 6 times because there are 6 of those layers. Okay, and again, I can rewrite that as a multiplication sentence, which would be 4 centimeters cubed times 6, because I'm doing that 6 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it is cubed, so I need to have the little 3 up here to signify that my cube is in all the 3 sides, the length, the width, and the height, it's 1 centimeter all around. So then I would go over here. I have 6 layers. Each one has 4 cubes. In total, I have a volume of 24. And finally, if I take a look at my drawing or the model that they gave me, I can see another way to break down the layers is if I look at it this way. So going this way, I have 2 layers, and I can count the front face to see how many cubes are in the front. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 12 up front, and then there are also 12 on the back. So 2 layers, 12. And again, I would write my expression, 12 centimeters cubed plus 12 centimeters cubed. And as a multiplication, it would be 12 times 2, and that would equal 24. Don't forget the little units. Okay, so for each of these problems or each of these questions in the problem set and in the homework, you just want to think of layers. You're just decomposing, breaking the prism down into layers in different ways. And if it helps you, grab a color pencil, a marker, crayon, some kind of color to help you see the different layers, just like I did. I used my green, my red, and my blue, and just because it helped me break down the layers a little bit easier. And you want to think of it, if it also helps, as cake. How many layers of cake would I have? Try to look at them from different angles. So for my red one, I looked at if I sliced it in half. For my green one, if I sliced it going downwards, I would have taller chunks of cake. And for my blue one over here, I just kind of sliced it, down the middle, and I had 12 of those little unit cubes in there. And go through and fill out your table that they give you. Now, the reason that we do this in lesson 3 is because in lesson 4, we are asked to find the volume of the prism. So now we've kind of been exploring just using these unit cubes, and once your shapes get a little bit bigger, it's not really convenient for us to sit here and think of the layers or draw out or even count all those little unit cubes. And there is a shorter way to calculate volume, and that is what you do in lesson 4. You see the models. You could sit here and think of the different layers that you have, and if you even wanted to, you could sit and count all the cubes to find the volume, but that isn't a really great use of your time. And there is a shortcut. I know you love the shortcut. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about volume in terms of length, width, and height. And it's just another way to take a look at the layers that we've been dealing with in the past lessons. Length refers to the dimension going across this way, so how long something is. Just gonna try to denote that over here, how long something is. Your width is how far back, how wide your object is. It's this one right here, and I'm going to denote that with a little W, just little shortcuts or just little abbreviations. That's a L. And then your height is just how tall something is, or how many, and this one would be the layer part. I'm going to do it back here. It's a little easier to see. This green dimension here is your height. I'm just going to put a little H to help me see that. And as we saw in lesson 3, I had to write down how many unit cubes were in each layer, and I rewrote it as multiplication. And that's because when we go and find the volume of a rectangular prism, we are going to be multiplying the length, the width, and the height, and that will give us the volume. And it's just what you saw in lesson 3. And if you went and did the problem set, which hopefully you did because I need to see your work and the homework as well, you would have noticed that it's just easier if you just multiply the length and the width and the height. So this will give you the practice with that. And they gave you the cubes so that you can go ahead and count how long this prism is. So my length is the blue dimension, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cubes. And wrong color. My width, I want to figure out how far back it is. So I am going to count going back. So I have 1, 2. I don't want to count the top ones because the reason I don't count the top ones is when I go and calculate height, I will account for those cubes. So how many layers? 2. And what I'm going to do is instead of writing all that repeated addition, I'm just going to say 5 length times the width, which is 2 cubes, times my height, which is also 2 layers going up. So 5 times 2. And you probably already solved these already in your head, but just to help you out so you can see this, 5 times 2 is 10. And I'm going to, oh my gosh. I'm going to multiply the 2 over here that I still have, my height, and it is 20. And like I said, some of you have already figured this out faster than I could actually write the whole thing. 20 is my volume. And if you really want to make sure that you did it correctly or that I did it correctly, you can go through and count the cubes in the prism. But that is basically what you're doing for your problem set and for your homework, is you're just using that concept of length, width, and height, and you're multiplying all those dimensions together to find the volume. And this first problem will give you practice with that. And I'm going to leave this here. You can pause the video, rewind, play it as many times as you want to. You can take a screenshot of this just to help you out. And again, if you want to use some colored pencils, markers, and crayons to help you see the different dimensions, the length, the width, and the height. Again, the length is the dimension of how long something is. So it's this blue one right here. Width, how far back it goes. And height is what we were doing with layers. So it's all the layers here, and I have 2 of those layers. It's going to change for each one. So for letter B, how long it is, how far back, how wide, and what the height is. So how many layers do I have in this one? And go ahead and practice this on lesson 4, module 5 on the problem set, and you'll get a little bit more practice on the homework. And please make sure that you take pictures of your work, send it to me through Google Classroom, Class Dojo, email it, text it through your parents' cell phone. I want to make sure that you understand the concept of volume, and I can help you out giving you that feedback. And that is all for